Welcome to Through the Eyes of a Mystic, sacred, wild, and unfiltered echoes. These are the stories of Bernard Alvarez, a queer spiritual teacher, pagan priest, and healer told through the echoes of his life, the voices of the ancestors, the ache of youth, the fire of magic, the pain of grief, and the beauty of becoming. This podcast is a sacred offering of memory and meaning, experience and wisdom, shared to honor the path that shaped him into the man we know today, and perhaps to help you remember your own sacred journey.
Welcome back, beloved ones, to another journey through the eyes of a mystic. Today, I invite you to walk with me into the heart of my childhood, into the strange, haunted, magical home where the veil between worlds was so very thin. This isn't just a story about creaking floors or shadows in the corner. It's about how spirit revealed itself to me, sometimes tender, sometimes terrifying, shaping the path I walk as a mystic today. From as far back as I can remember, I was drawn to the occult, to mystery, to the unseen. While other children were glued to Saturday morning cartoons, I was spellbound by witches, vampires, and the supernatural. Bewitched whispered its playful magic into my imagination. Dracula's cape trailed across my daydreams. And in my little world of crafts and toys, I even built three-dimensional models of famous horror movie scenes: Frankenstein's lab, the Wolfman beneath the moon. It was as though I was preparing, even then, for a life entangled with mystery, and all the while, I was never alone. Spirits moved through my home the way the wind moves through the trees, quiet, constant, present. At first, I thought nothing of it. I assumed every child saw them. They didn't frighten me, until one day they did. I must have been in first or second grade. I remember walking in from school, dropping my little backpack on the floor, and asking my mother to make me my favorite snack, SpaghettiOs. That was my ritual, a warm bowl of comfort. My parents had a color television in their bedroom, a luxury compared to the small black and white set in my room. So, of course, I would watch TV there. And like any curious child, I loved exploring their walk in closet. It felt like a secret world: rows of clothes, hidden corners, the scent of perfume and aftershave. I used to hide in there, snoop around, let my imagination run wild. But this day was different. As I was pushing through the hangers on my mother's side, I noticed movement, something ruffling in the corner where nothing should have been moving. I stepped closer, and then she appeared, a crone like figure, short, hunched, dressed in what looked like Eastern European garb, her face lined with shadow, her eyes glinting. Before I could react, she lashed out, her bony hands clamped around mine with impossible strength, pulling my arms together, dragging them toward her mouth. She was trying to put my hands inside of her mouth. I screamed. I ripped free with all the strength a child's terror could summon and bolted down the hall, into the kitchen, into my mother's arms, hysterical, trembling. For years, I couldn't explain what I had seen, until one day, much later, a pagan high priest and mentor of mine listened to my story and said, "That sounds like a Baba Yaga, a babushka witch. They are said to steal the magical energy of gifted children." And suddenly the memory made sense. It was not a random nightmare. It was a spirit encounter, a dark one, a test. But not all the mysteries of my childhood home were so frightening. Some were simply strange. I remember another time, sitting in the living room with my cousin, watching TV. He got up, walked into the bathroom, and a few moments later, walked back out making a comment about the show we were watching. I turned to answer him, but he wasn't there. Then, the bathroom door opened again. Out came my cousin, this time for real, saying the exact same words I had just heard moments before. It was as if time had slipped, a loop, a glitch in the matrix, as some might call it now. I would later learn that this is known as a time slip, something that sensitives and intuitives often encounter. Another way Spirit whispers to us, time is not as rigid as we believe. As I grew into adolescence, these experiences only deepened. I was being pulled into the occult, into the world of mysteries. I checked out every book on the subject from the library, devouring them in secret. And then there was the dream. One night in a dream, I found myself standing under the big ficus tree in the front yard of our home. My family was gathered there, all of them sobbing, looking down at something. I pushed my way through and saw a deep hole in the ground. At the bottom lay a blurred figure. I leaned closer, and suddenly he looked up at me. It was my cousin. He reached up toward me with loving eyes, and in that exact moment, I woke to the sound of my mother sobbing. She was shaking me awake, her voice trembling. My cousin had committed suicide. It was the very same cousin I had seen in my dream. Had he reached out to me to say goodbye, to show me his safe passage between worlds? That moment has never left me. A couple of years later, I was in my very 80s style bedroom with the water bed, wood paneled walls, diamond patterned mirrors, shag carpet. I was lying there listening to music, the lights dimmed, and suddenly a presence filled the room. From the highest mirror to my left, a spirit emerged. She hovered over me and with such gentleness kissed my forehead. I knew instantly who it was, my great aunt. And the next day, I learned she had passed away that very night. The veil was thin in that home, so very thin. Even my father noticed the strangeness that wove through my life. Years later, when I was in college, I wrote a research paper on the history and practice of witchcraft for my English class, and I got an A plus. I sat at the dining room table with my father, proud, and he said, "I always knew you were interested in this stuff." Then he told me something I had no memory of. He said when I was very small, he found me in the side yard digging a hole so deep it was taller than me. I was holding a rock with writing on it, and when he asked me what I was doing, I replied, "I'm looking for Isis to give her my prayer." I had no recollection of that moment, but my dog Brownie used to scratch and dig at the corner of the same room in the house, as if he sensed something there. The mystery ran deeper than even I realized. And of course, the house was full of other moments too, like the time I had friends over, and together we watched the ceiling fan in that same room slowly begin to spin on its own until it whirled at full speed. No remotes, no open windows, no tricks, just spirit making itself known. Or the time I woke from sleep with hands around my throat, struggling to breathe, only to see the waist and legs of someone in blue jeans hovering above me. As I fought to push them away, they vanished. Yes, my childhood home was alive with spirits, some kind, some mischievous, some dark, and yet, through them all, I was being shaped, trained, initiated. I have always believed in reincarnation. I believe we are born carrying gifts, sometimes heavy, sometimes strange, but always purposeful. And while those gifts may make our lives different, even difficult, they are tools for healing humanity. We are responsible for using them, for practicing them, for cultivating them. I always say, if you want to practice witchcraft, you must practice witchcraft. The same is true for any path of spirit. And so I look back on my childhood home, not just as a place of hauntings, but as the cradle of my awakening. So, my friends, if you have ever felt the brush of spirit in your own life, know that you are not alone. The unseen world is never far. And sometimes what seems terrifying, strange, or incomprehensible is actually an invitation, a calling, a whisper reminding you of who you truly are. Until next time, may the spirits who walk with you be kind, and may your path be blessed with mystery and light.
Thank you so much for watching, my friends. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. And if you'd like to unlock some amazing exclusive perks like special classes, meditations, courses, and more, consider becoming a supporting member of my channel. Just click subscribe on Facebook or join on YouTube. I love you, friends, and I'll see you next time.